now to Michele Donnelly for more on gender disparity at the Olympics. She's an assistant professor in the Department of Sport Management at Brock University. Michele, great to have you on the program today. Now, claims about achieving gender balance have been an integral part of, all of IOC's goals, especially this Olympics. You write that ensuring gender equality at the Games doesn't address the conditions of men's and women's participation. What do you mean by that?
So it's looking only at the numbers, so the number of athletes. And so we've been hearing, right, this will be the first Games where we have nearly 50% women athletes. And that's a significant achievement, but it's not taking into account that there continue to be sports and events in which men and women participate using different rules, different kinds of equipment, different uniforms is the one that's probably the most obvious to viewers of the Games. And so we need to be looking at those conditions of participation before we actually start to make any claims about having achieved gender equality at the Olympics.
So the delegations of some of the teams in areas in Latin America, for example, have more women than men for the first time, from what I understand. Can you talk about how unprecedented this is and how that goes towards stepping in the direction that you're talking about, some of the more kind of micro gender balancing?
Yeah, so it's been really impressive to see, for the last number of years, both Canada and the United States have sent teams to the Summer Olympic Games that have had more women than men. China is one of the leaders this year, so of their enormous team of 405 athletes, 66% of them are women. And so that's very much the case of qualifying more team sports, right, on the women's side than on the men's side to be able to have that significantly larger number of women. But it really does draw attention to, right, there's work that needs to be done at the level of the International Olympic Committee and also of the National Olympic Committees, as well as the international sport federations. They all have to be working together to get to a place where we could actually more accurately call these a gender equal Olympics.
Can we talk a little bit about the women's boxing match and the misinformation about one of those athletes, an Algerian boxer who was assigned female at birth and identifies as a woman, has been falsely accused as a trans person or a man pretending to be a woman. And she's now being used by this kind of conservative narrative to promote an anti-trans agenda. How does this kind of false politicisation of sports affect particularly women, given that they're often at the centre of this conversation, whether it be women or trans women?
Yeah, I mean, the rules that have been in place for a long time in various kinds of forms that determine or say who's eligible to participate in the women's category, they're harmful not only for trans women or women with differences of sexual development, but we're seeing the ways that they're really harmful for all women athletes. Because what it does is it sets up a scenario where any woman athlete can be challenged based on her sex identity. And as you said, someone who has been recognized as a woman, is female on their passport, right, understands themselves as a woman, is now being scrutinized at this global level for, is she woman enough for competition? And I can't imagine how hurtful, how psychologically damaging that is when you are an athlete at the Olympic Games at the peak of your athletic career, and this is the story that's being told about you.
Especially in a sport like boxing, where strength and a sort of sense of fierceness is an integral part of the sport. And, women must perhaps have long hair and present in a certain way that is a traditional feminine sort of outlook. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Michele Donnelly, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.